Hey, what's up? My name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a very exciting 60K Q&A! And first of all, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for 60K. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to anyone who has subscribed to my channel or anybody who's commented on a video, liked a video. It really does mean the world to me, and creating content has become one of my favorite things to do in my life, and I just really appreciate all of the support. Genuinely, thank you so much. I asked in my Instagram community post if you guys would like to see a 60K Q&A, and I also asked for some other ideas if you had any, and there were some really great ideas in that post, so I might be doing some of those videos as well, but the response was pretty much overwhelmingly yes for a 60K Q&A, so I decided I would do this video. Anyways, I asked on my Instagram little box thing on my story for some questions, and I got a ton of questions, so I'm going to be trying to go through as many of these as I can, but I don't want this video to be ridiculously long, so I apologize if I didn't get to your question, but thank you so much to everyone who sent in questions. I really appreciate it. And you know, on the morning that I'm filming this right now, Taylor Swift just announced the Red re-recording news. And so I'm counting down the days until November, and I had to put on my red lipstick, you know, because we gotta support. But anyways, I just wanted to answer some of the questions that I got the most often, because I got a handful of questions that were all very similar. One of them being, how old am I? I'm 26 years old. One of the questions being, what do I do for a living? Like, what is my real job? And that is that I work at a pizza restaurant. I actually was the general manager at this pizza restaurant for 2 years, and now I just recently stepped down to assistant manager, and now my sister Rachel is the store manager there now. I am a Capricorn, and I feel like I am the most Capricorn person. Like, that is something I really identify with. I'm also an Enneagram type 6. I'm a 6 wing 5, and my Myers-Briggs is INFJ, which is like the most rare type of personality. One question that I got from my friend Hani says, I really adore your book club. What is the most enjoyable moment and annoying moment handling a club? And I think the most enjoyable thing for me is the live shows. Like, I absolutely love having the live shows and having some of my friends come onto my channel and like talk about the book. Like, whether we liked it or not doesn't really make a huge difference for me, just because I love hanging out and getting to talk about the book and just having a fun time. But I do think the worst part about having a book club is when I feel like I'm not picking any good books. I mean, like, so far this year, I've only enjoyed, I think, like 2 out of the first 5 months. So to have so many books in a row just kind of like not be that great, I feel bad because I'm basically asking my audience to pick up this book and read it with me, and if we all end up not enjoying it, then I just feel bad that I made you either spend money on a book that we all didn't like, just like that kind of thing. And then I also get some comments sometimes on the live shows being like, this isn't fun when you're just roasting the books and like whatever, and it's like, I don't intend to pick books to roast them. Like, I just pick whatever books, and if we don't end up liking it, then like, I'm sorry, but I don't read the books beforehand, so I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Oh, Honey also asked, what's your favorite Ana Luisa jewelry item? And by far, it's this ring, this like white ring that I'm wearing right now. Oh my god, I'm obsessed with this one, and I've been wearing this one constantly. Like, I never take it off. I even wear it to work, which like I probably shouldn't because I'm afraid I'm gonna lose it, but I just love it. It's so simplistic, and it's just like so beautiful. But honestly, any of Ana Luisa's rings, like, I could wear them all day. I love rings. They're by far my favorite jewelry item, and they're the jewelry item that I wear the most on like a day-to-day basis. She also asked Evermore or 1989, and honestly, these days it's probably Evermore. Like, Evermore is I keep debating if Evermore is like my favorite Taylor Swift album, because every day I just want to listen to Evermore. Oh, it's close. I love 1989 so much. It's in my top 3 for sure. My friend Kate asked, do you prefer reading emotional books or more lighthearted books? And honestly, I prefer the emotional, like, hard-hitting books. I mean, every now and then, like, especially in the summertime, I do tend to crave more of, like, the lighthearted books, but for the most part, I love the dark, hard-hitting emotional books. Like, I want to feel like I just got hit by a freaking bus when I read a book, you know what I mean? Ooh, I got this question a lot, like tips for people who want to start a BookTube channel or even like an Instagram related to books. And honestly, you just gotta do it. That's the only advice that I have for you. Just do it. You gotta put your insecurities or whatever's stopping you, you gotta just put that to the side, because you only live one life, you know? You can't let people and like insecurities stop you from doing what you want to do. You can't let it stop you from doing what you love. Because you know how often I get dislikes on my videos or hate comments on my videos? Like, you can't let those stop you from doing what you want to do. When I had started my BookTube channel, I had been wanting to start a BookTube channel for like over a year. And then after I finally started making videos, I was like, I don't know why I put this off for so long. Like, this isn't as bad as I thought it would be. And like, yeah, going back and watching the videos from my first year on YouTube, they are so cringy and so bad. But it's like, you just gotta do it, you know? You gotta get past that first awkward stage. You know, talking to a camera is not normal. You have to like get used to it and start talking to the camera like a friend. But the only way you're gonna do that is if you practice. Somebody asked, when was the time you felt that you started increasing followers or viewers at a fast rate? I have two different answers for this, because I feel like in the year of 2018, that is when I feel like my channel really started to gain momentum, because I had been on YouTube since 2015 and I didn't really see a ton of growth until the end of 2018, because I ended 2018 with 10,000 subscribers, and then once 2019 started, I started gaining almost like 1,000 every month, and that's when I noticed like, wow, like my channel's really starting to grow. And then by the end of 2019, I'm pretty sure I ended around like 30,000 subscribers, but then it wasn't until COVID hit and quarantine started, that first like April, May, I was gaining like almost 3,000 subscribers a month, which is like insane to me. But I think it's because there were a lot of people home, you know, like watching more YouTube videos and having more time for reading possibly, and so there was just a lot more activity on BookTube than ever before maybe. And I don't know, that was the time when I noticed that my channel was growing at a very rapid pace, and I was just so excited and so grateful, and it really motivated me too to like want to make videos. And I'm just so grateful anytime my channel grows in any small way, whether that's fast or slow, it doesn't matter. I'm just really appreciative that my channel is still growing. I just really appreciate it so much. Ooh, this is a cool question. It says, if you could describe yourself only using one song, what would it be? Honestly, the song that I feel like represents me the most is probably The Archer by Taylor Swift. I know that's like so depressing to say, but those lyrics, dude, they hit on another level. Like, I just relate so hard. Either that or like This Is Me Trying by Taylor Swift, I feel like is another song that I really relate to. Even like Mirror Ball by Taylor Swift. Ooh, somebody asked, what is your favorite book you have read that you would not recommend to others? And honestly, I would probably say the book A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara, because even though it's one of my absolute all-time favorite books, like maybe in my top 3, I wouldn't just recommend this book to anyone. I know that I kind of have recommended it in the past, but the more I think about that book, the more that I'm like, that book is so traumatic and so devastating and so depressing that I wouldn't just go around recommending that book to anyone. Like, I think you have to be in a really okay mindset to read something like that, and especially with the way the world is right now, like I feel like the world has just been so fucking depressing and sad enough in this last like year and a half that I wouldn't just go around recommending reading something like A Little Life during this time. I also got a lot of questions about asexuality and my sexuality and asexuality in general, and I've mentioned previously in a reading vlog that I did that I really related to the book Loveless by Alice Oseman, because I feel I've never felt more seen by a main character than I did in that book, and that book kind of helped me not like clarify my sexuality, but it made me feel more valid in the fact that I'm most likely asexual. To be honest, like I don't really have a lot of dating experience because it's not something I've ever really cared about or like made time in my life for. So to be honest, I don't really have a full grasp on my sexuality even still. I also got a lot of questions too about like writing a book and if I'm currently writing a book or if I have plans to write a book, and the answer to that is still I don't know, because I talked about this in the last Q&A video I did, and I was originally writing a romance novel. I had started this romance novel at the beginning of 2019 and that was what I wanted to write about, but ever since like the start of 2020, I just haven't really been in much of a romance reading mood lately. And because, you know, ever since I've really discovered the fact that I'm probably asexual, I'm like, do I even want to write about romance? Because I love reading about romance, but like writing about romance, I just don't know if I have that passion in me anymore. And so I've been debating like, okay, maybe I could write like a thriller or a horror, but I just don't know if I have ideas for that, you know? I actually would love to get back into writing poetry because I used to really love writing poetry and like songwriting when I was in middle school and high school. And I feel like as I've gotten older, I just haven't had the same time to like do those things. But you know, now with me like cutting back my hours at work a little bit and focusing more on YouTube and just more on like myself, I feel like maybe it would be fun to like jump back into writing poetry or maybe even songwriting. And then maybe that could eventually turn into like writing more fiction and getting more creative. But I don't know, I feel like I'm pretty rusty when it comes to creative writing just because it's been so long since I really dived back into it. But I still think I would eventually like to write a book. I just have no idea what the genre would be at this point, and I have no idea what I would write about. So it's probably more of like a long-term goal, like maybe the next 10 years, but I don't know if that would happen anytime soon for me. Somebody asked me what's my favorite book that I've read so far this year, and I honestly don't know. Like, I pulled some of the books off my shelves that have been some of my favorites of the year, but at the beginning of July, I'm planning on making a video that's like the best books I've read in 2021 so far, so you'll have a more thorough list there. But I think some of my favorites, I just have 5 books here that have been my favorites of the year so far. The Push is definitely one of them. Project Hail Mary is definitely one of them. I really loved The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. That one's up there for sure. And then Finlay Donovan is killing it. I mean, I'm fucking obsessed with this book. And then also The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I just really love Jennifer McMahon now for horror. Like, absolutely love her. I got a question too, which book made you love horror? I feel like there's 2 answers for this because Pet Sematary by Stephen King, I read it at the end of 2019, and that kind of really kickstarted my love for horror, but my horror obsession didn't really begin until I read The Troop. I decided to do this video in like, I want to say March or April of 2020, and I decided to do this video that was like reading hyped horror novels just because I wanted to get more into horror, and then I read The Troop for that video, and ever since then the bitch has been obsessed with horror, and by the bitch I mean me. I really like this question. Somebody asked, what have you learned about yourself since being on BookTube? I feel like because of being on BookTube and being on the internet in general, I've grown so much thicker skin because I used to be the most insecure person you could ever imagine. When I was in high school, I was the most socially awkward, like didn't know how to talk to people, and I was just so scared and so anxious. And not that I'm not like that now, like I definitely still deal with a pretty good amount of social anxiety, but I've gotten so much more confident in myself. And now, like, if I get hateful comments now, like, I don't really let it bother me the way that I did when I was younger. Because when I was first getting on BookTube, like, I used to let any little comment, like, bring me down and, like, fucking ruin my day. And not that it doesn't happen every now and then now, but for the most part now, like, I don't even bat an eye at it. I'm just like, whatever, like, you can't make everyone happy. And I don't know, I've always had that, not like a problem, but also kind of like a problem where I'm such a people pleaser, and I feel like I have to satisfy everyone, and I feel like really insecure if I feel like somebody doesn't like me. I feel like I'll go crazy thinking about like, what did I do wrong, or why do they not like me? Like, I feel like I just had to be, or I always felt like I had to be liked by everyone. And now I'm starting to shed that that mindset, I guess, because I don't think that's a healthy mindset to have, you know, because there's gonna be some people in this world who just don't like you, and you can't do anything about that, and there's no point in wasting your energy trying to please everyone and trying to make everyone like you. I did get one question that was about Taylor Swift, and it said, how and when did you start liking Taylor Swift? When the Fearless album, well, actually right before the Fearless album came out is when I discovered Taylor Swift and started to become a huge Taylor Swift fan. I was in 8th grade, and it was 2008, and it actually happened because I was a big fan of the Jonas Brothers first, and I heard that Taylor Swift was dating Joe Jonas, and this was like summer of 2008, and then I got like really like, oh my gosh, who's Taylor Swift? And so I was looking into her first debut album, and that's when I discovered the songs like A Place in This World and Invisible, like all of these super relatable songs, and I just felt so like connected to her. And because at this point in my life, when I was in middle school, I was like writing poetry, I was like starting to write songs. I was easily so inspired by her because I wanted to do what Taylor Swift was doing when I was that age, which is like writing these beautiful songs about how it feels to be lonely and so unseen and tied together with a smile. I discovered her debut album, really loved the debut album, and then when her and Joe Jonas broke up and then Fearless dropped, Fearless was just everything. Like, I loved Fearless so much, and from that moment on, I was a pretty diehard Swiftie. I remember being in 10th grade and Speak Now came out. We had this friend that was older that worked at Starbucks, and she was able to get us the Speak Now CD like a few days before it came out because they got it shipped to their store, and she just like took one and gave it to us. Me and Rachel were like freaking the fuck out. Like, Speak Now became like my fucking favorite thing ever. I remember we couldn't get tickets to the Speak Now tour because they sold out too quickly, and I was so devastated. Like, we still watch the Speak Now tour DVD all the time and are like so upset about the fact that we couldn't go to the Speak Now tour. But then we saw Taylor for the first time at the Red tour, and like, oh my god, it was life-changing. It was so amazing. Yeah, I don't know, like, I've been a Taylor Swift fan for such a long time in my life that I don't even remember my life before I was a Taylor Swift fan, honestly. Ooh, somebody asked what's my favorite podcast to listen to, and if we're talking like spooky, true crime kind of podcast, then I would say Creepy Caffeine is my favorite podcast. That's the one that I do not miss an episode of. Like, I will listen to every single one. Some other ones though that I really like listening to also are My Favorite Murder and Morbid. Like, Morbid has become one of my absolute favorites too. I mean, My Favorite Murder is really great, but it's also like everybody knows about My Favorite Murder. But Morbid is also wonderful, and it's just so entertaining. And then also, if you're looking for like a bookish podcast where they actually talk about books and stuff, there's this podcast I recently started listening to called This Is My Hobby, and that one's really great because they talk about books that were specifically written by women, or they talk about like TV shows and movies, which is like also one of my favorite things. I did get a few questions asking about Rachel and how she's doing now post-surgery a few months later, and she's doing a lot better now. In like January and February, it was still kind of rough, you know, like she got surgery in December, and for a while there afterwards, like the recovery process took a lot longer than any of us were expecting it to. She was just really out of it because, I mean, if you didn't know, she had to get a surgery at the beginning of December, and then she had to get a second emergency surgery, and things just did not go to plan because she had kidney stones in her back that had to get removed, but she had a mass of kidney stones that had like nearly 100 kidney stones. Like, they didn't even know how many were in there, but it had accumulated, like her body was born with it or something, and it had accumulated this mass in her kidney, so they had to go in there and get it out. But then after they took it out, she had some complications with her kidney like after that, and then 4 days later had to get an emergency surgery done, and the recovery process took a few months after that, and it was a lot longer than any of us were anticipating. Like, she was still getting a lot of pain in that area, and she's doing a lot better now. Like, for the most part, like, she still experiences some pain and some like bloating in that area, but it's nothing nearly as bad as how she felt before or like right after the surgery. But I'm so thankful that she's doing okay now because that was very, very hard to go through. I also got a lot of questions on if I plan to move anytime soon, and the answer to that is probably not. I live with my sister Rachel and her boyfriend Obed, and with the three of us living together, our rent is actually pretty cheap, especially because we have a really good deal on our apartment right now where we live. This town where we're living in right now is booming because they're building so many apartments. There's so many more people moving out here. It's a really desired place to live, so rent is going up for a lot of these apartments, and we're really lucky that we have a really good deal. Like, we pay really cheap rent here at this apartment, and it's such a nice apartment. Like, I've always loved this apartment. We've been living here for over 2 years now. I don't think we have any immediate plans to move, and I don't have any immediate plans to move because I'm really grateful where we're at. We're in like the perfect location. Ooh, I got the question, which country would you like to visit first after the pandemic? And that's a really good question, and I've actually never been outside of the USA. Like, I've never traveled to another country, and I feel so uncultured because of it. But I mean, I'm pretty well traveled within the USA. Like, I feel like I've been to a good amount of states, but I've never been outside of the USA, which is just depressing because I haven't even been to Canada, and I live like really close to Canada. Probably Canada will be the first country I will visit after this pandemic because I can literally drive there, and that would be really cool to see Canada finally. After being quarantined at home for like over a year, I'm just excited to go anywhere. Like, I want to see the freaking world. I got a question asking if I went to college, and if so, what did I major in? And The answer to this is yes. I went to college. I had a very long, dragged out college experience because I went to college for a year when I still lived in California. And then when I moved out here, I had to wait a year to become a resident and not pay non-resident tuition because it was so expensive. So then I went back to college for about a year and I got my associate's degree. And then I transferred to a university, and then I only went to university for 1 quarter and then I dropped out. But I was originally going for creative writing in English, like my degree was going to be an English degree, but then I got just incredibly insecure because I don't know what I want to do with an English degree. And you know, living in Washington, I don't know if there's like a ton of opportunity for a creative writing degree specifically in English. And so I just kind of got overwhelmed, and I was getting promoted at work. Like at the time I was just a shift leader, but then I got promoted to assistant manager and then store manager within like a few months. So I ended up just staying at my job and managing the restaurant. And now it's like, I know I keep getting questions too, like, do you plan to go back to college now that I'm like stepping down from work and taking more time for YouTube? And the answer to that is I don't really know. Maybe next year I could see myself doing it, but honestly at this point, like, I don't even know. It's not that I feel like it's like too late for me to go back. I mean, next year I'm gonna be like 27 years old, but at the same time, like, I just don't know if that's something I still want, you know? Because I know a college degree is important because it's good to educate yourself, but also, like, is it really necessary? Like, I don't know. Oh, I got a question, what is my favorite film and why? And I always debate whether my, like, all-time favorite movie is Inception or La La Land or The Dark Knight or even, like, Nightcrawler or Donnie Darko. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of favorite movies, and they're mainly my favorite movies because I just think they're so epic. And, you know, Inception really made me fall in love with film in the first place. And so Inception is always like my go-to answer. And because Inception is like one of the most mind-blowing movies I've ever seen in my life. I got the question, are you planning on getting an additional Frenchie? And the answer to that is probably not. I mean, Tank isn't really my dog. He's kind of like Rachel and Obed's dog. I mean, all 3 of us live here, so all 3 of us, you know, watch him, take care of him, that kind of thing. But I mean, Rachel and Obed are more like his parents, if you will. Like, I'm like the cool Aunt Gabby that like lives with him and watches him from time to time. But I mean, Tank is Rachel and Obed's dog. So like, I don't know, like if they get another Frenchie, I mean, that's kind of up to them, I think. But I personally don't want the responsibility of owning a dog quite yet. I mean, maybe like one day if I ever moved out on my own, you know, that would be another story, because then Rachel and Obed, I'm assuming, would take Tank. And so I, like, if I moved out on my own, like maybe I would get my own dog in the future, but like as far as right now, like I don't really think that's happening. Got this question that says, what do you miss most about California? Because this person's also from California. And I think the thing I miss most about California is how close we lived to my family, because my dad's whole side of his family lives down in California. And I just really miss having family close by because I'm so close with my cousins Grant and Ava, and moving and separating from them and coming all the way up to Washington has been really hard, like not having them super close. And then I also just really miss the beaches in California, because even though Washington is like still on the coast and we still have beaches here, they're just not the same. Like, California beaches slap so hard. They're just so beautiful and so stunning, and like the sand, and like there's nothing like Santa Monica. Like, Santa Monica is just so beautiful. I also really miss going to Dodger games, and I mean, the fact that the Dodgers won the World Series last year and I wasn't in California. Oh, it made me so sad because I just wanted to celebrate. Like, I saw all these videos of people just like celebrating in the streets, and I was like, that would have been so great to be there. Oh my gosh, somebody asked, would you rather read a horror book by Taylor Jenkins Reid or a romance by Riley Sager? And like, I love this question. I'd want to read both so badly, like so badly. But I feel like I'd honestly rather read a horror book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, just because, like, what? But also, like, a romance by Riley Sager, oh my god, that'd be so fun, especially because Riley Sager is the biggest Swiftie. Like, it is so adorable. Like, all the time when he posts on like Twitter or Instagram, he's always talking about Taylor Swift and like hyping her up, and I love him so much. So like, honestly, I want to read both so bad. Somebody asked who is my favorite book character or the character that I related to the most, and lately I like to say that I'm a mix between Kath from Fangirl, who has probably been my longest most relatable character of all time. And then I'm a mix of Kath from Fangirl and Georgia from Loveless. Like those two characters, like I am a mix of both of them. Question asked, what shows am I watching at the moment? I just finished 2 different shows that I'm obsessed with. I finished Mare of Easttown on HBO. That one was so freaking good. It was Kate Winslet and it's like a detective show. Oh my god, it was so amazing. And then I also just finished watching Cruel Summer on Hulu, and Cruel Summer was so freaking good. But right now I'm just watching mostly like reality shows. Like I'm watching Hell's Kitchen and The Bachelorette, which I know The Bachelorette is like so cringe, but like I don't know why, I just like love watching it. Somebody said, what do you think Joe Goldberg would think of your taste in books? Do you think he would approve? Honestly, Joe Goldberg seems like he's so, like he's one of those guys that has like very intense taste. Like he seems like one of those people who like only reads classics. So no, I don't think he would approve of my reading taste. He seems like one of those like really pretentious guys who is like, if this book isn't a classic, then like what's even the point of reading? I got a lot of questions about like what is my go-to coffee order or like my Starbucks order, and I love a good iced caramel macchiato. Like I'm satisfied with that, but my absolute favorite drink is an iced cinnamon almond milk macchiato. And apparently they've discontinued this drink, but you can still order it if you make some substitutions on an iced caramel macchiato. But it also depends on the time of year, because I also really do enjoy, you know, pumpkin spice lattes in the fall. I love a lot of the Starbucks like fall drinks, like the cinnamon dolce drink. Ugh, amazing. Somebody asked, have you ever considered quitting BookTube or Bookstagram? And the answer to that is no. I've never thought about quitting, but I have thought about taking a break. I mean, I have taken some very short breaks from Bookstagram before, where I just kind of don't go on Instagram for like a few days. But honestly, it's so bad. Like I'm so addicted to social media that it's like so bad. Like even if I try to take a break, I usually end up going back and checking anyways. And for the most part, like I know if I need a break, because I can see the signs in myself if my mental health is starting to get really bad, and if I feel like it's like a toxic thing for me, then I can take a break for a couple days. But I never feel like I need more than a few days of a break. I don't really know, but I've never really taken a long break on YouTube before. I mean, ever since I've had my channel in 2015, I've always been pretty consistent with uploading videos. Like I've never missed a wrap up since 2015. Like every month I've posted a wrap up. But in the future, like I don't know if I'm gonna need a break in the future. I mean, I've gotten close a few times to the point where I felt like I might need a break, but I also just love doing YouTube so much that whenever I feel like I need a break, that feeling never lasts for more than a couple days, so I'm able to like get back into the swing of it. And honestly, filming reading vlogs makes me so freaking happy. Ooh, somebody asked, what's your favorite video that you've made? And honestly, I don't really know if I have like a single favorite that I could think of. I do have a playlist that I made that's called like Best of Gabby Reads or something that I can link down below, that is like all the videos that I'm personally the most proud of, which means either I put the most amount of time and energy into it or just really loved how the video turned out. But some of my favorites that come to mind immediately is the video I did of reading your horror recommendations last October. I just really loved that video and how it turned out. I really love doing a lot of my Stephen King reading vlogs just because I think they're so much fun. And I love anytime I do like a reading challenge for myself, or like reading like 3 hyped horror novels or something like that. I just think the reading vlogs in general are usually the videos that I'm personally the most proud of and are the most fun to make. Somebody said any bookstores that you want to visit in other states, and they mentioned the Strand in New York. I actually did get to go to the Strand in 2019 in New York, and it was freaking beautiful and amazing. But yeah, I do want to go to Powell's. They also mentioned Powell's because Powell's is one of the biggest bookstores ever, and it's in Portland, Oregon, which is not too far from me. It's like, it's a good day trip, you know, it's like 5 hours away or so, but it's not too far that it's like impossible. Like I could drive to Powell's if I wanted to, so maybe one day. I got the question, who is your favorite ASMR artist? And like, I have so many and I draw a blank every time I get this question. But for me personally, my biggest inspirations and the people that I admire the most and will watch every single video is Raffy Taffy, ASMR Charm, Evie ASMR, Lo-Fi Love ASMR, and Kelly Belly ASMR. Like those are my fucking go-tos. Like love every single video they do. Somebody said, how has starting a YouTube channel changed how you feel about reading? And I kind of touched on this in the last Q&A that I did, and I feel like it's definitely changed a lot about how I feel about reading or how I even go about reading, because especially since I started doing reading vlogs more often, which I didn't really start doing reading vlogs until a bit later on my time on YouTube, because my first reading vlog was like at the end of 2019. So like reading vlogs are still pretty recent for me, but now I've gotten so obsessed with doing reading vlogs that it's definitely changed how I feel about reading, because now it's like I've almost gotten into this mindset where I'm like, do I even want to read this book if I'm not going to include it in a reading vlog? And I think that that's like a really shitty mindset to have, but it also like motivates me to want to do more content and think of more ways to include books in content. Because I don't know why, I always feel like my reading vlogs have to have like some kind of theme to them, even though I know it's like perfectly reasonable to, you know, just do like a weekly reading vlog. Like so many of my friends just do fun like weekly reading vlogs, and I don't know why it's so hard for my brain to be like, no, this vlog needs to have a theme. So like, I don't know, maybe I should just like chill and just do more like weekly reading vlogs and be like less hard on myself. I got a lot of questions too that said like, besides Taylor Swift, like who else do you listen to? So many different artists that I listen to. I mean, very recently I love Ali and AJ's new album. Oh my gosh, Ali and AJ are freaking killing it. And it's crazy because they were one of my childhood faves, but like now they're even more one of my faves. I know a lot of people were asking if I like Olivia Rodrigo, and I think she's like fine, like I don't know, but I also just don't really relate to like the lyrics in her music. Like I haven't gone through like a heartbreak like that, so I just don't personally relate to the songs, but I do think she's a really talented songwriter, and I'm excited to see what kind of music she releases in the future. But some of my other favorite artists are like Saint John, Young the Giant, Beyonce, Coldplay, The Weeknd, The Neighborhood is one of my faves. I do have a whole playlist of some of my current favorite songs on Spotify, so I can link that down below if you want to see like what I'm listening to. But I also really love Vance Joy. I'm obsessed with the song Adore by Amy Shark lately. Like I just have that one on loop. I also really love Heat Waves by Glass Animals. Like I just love that song. I've also been listening to that band, I think it's pronounced Haim, right? Haim. I've been listening to them a lot. Like I love their most recent album, especially the song Gasoline that features Taylor Swift. But other songs on that album, I've Been Down and Now I'm In It and The Steps. Ugh, I'm obsessed. I got a lot of questions asking me like, what is my favorite Taylor Swift album, or what is my favorite Taylor Swift song on every album? I keep changing my answer because I used to say 1989 was my favorite album, and then I would say Reputation is my favorite Taylor Swift album, and now I feel like maybe Evermore is my favorite Taylor Swift album. Like I don't really know, but those are definitely in my top faves. I also just fucking love Folklore too, so like I don't know. Depends on the day. I love all of the Taylor Swift albums, and my favorite songs on each album would probably be like Should Have Said No on the debut, and then on Fearless, I think the song Fearless is probably my favorite, or Forever and Always. But on the re-recordings, The Other Side of the Door is my favorite. And then on Speak Now, I love Sparks Fly. Like Sparks Fly is my jam. I also really love The Story of Us. And then on Red, oh my god, Red has so many fucking iconic songs. I love State of Grace and I love Holy Ground and All Too Well are probably my favorites. And then we have 1989. My favorite is New Romantics and Style and Wildest Dreams. And then off Reputation, Delicate is my favorite because I think Delicate is my favorite Taylor Swift song. But then I also really love Dress, New Year's Day, I Did Something Bad. Lover has some of my favorite songs that she's ever written on it, like Cornelia Street, The Archer, Cruel Summer. And then on Folklore, Mirror Ball and This Is Me Trying are definitely my top two favorites, but I absolutely love Peace, I love Betty, I love August. And then Evermore. Evermore has a lot of my all-time favorite Taylor Swift songs ever, but my top faves are probably Cowboy Like Me, Champagne Problems, and Gold Rush. But I also love Dorothea and Right Where You Left Me, and like, I could go on. Somebody asked what are my favorite pizza toppings, and I would say pepperoni and pineapple is my favorite combination on pizza, but I usually like it with a white sauce because I don't love the marinara red sauce, mostly because of my GERD issues, my acid reflux issues. Like I don't like marinara sauce on pizza, which is unfortunate. but also pepperoni and pineapple is like the worst combination for my GERD, so like it sucks so much. Like pepperoni is probably like my biggest trigger because it's so acidic, so I can't always have it. But I love pepperoni and pineapple. I also really love just like ham and pineapple on pizza as well. That's my other favorite. But I also really love, I've recently discovered that I love artichoke hearts on pizza. Oh my god, that shit is so good. Sometimes at work I love making like a pesto kind of pizza. I'll put like pesto sauce on it, and then I'll chop up turkey into like little strips or like little cubes, and I'll put it on there, and then I like putting onions and bacon on it. Oh my god, it's so good. But you know, onions is another major trigger for my acid reflux, so can't always have that. But I fucking love pizza. I mean, I work in a pizza restaurant, so one of my favorite pizzas at my restaurant is this mac and cheese pizza. Holy shit, it's so like filling, but it's such a comfort food, and it's just barbecue is like the sauce on it, and then it's mac and cheese, bacon, cheddar cheese, and more barbecue sauce. Oh my god, it is so fucking good. Question that says, what job did you want when you were younger? And when I was like a kid, like 5 years old, I really wanted to be an astronaut. But then as I started to get a little bit older and I was in like middle school and like early high school, I really wanted to be a journalist or like work in some kind of like newsroom. And then I started to get a little bit older, and for a long time I wanted to be like a songwriter or get into like video editing. Like for a long time there, when I was a senior in high school, I thought I was gonna go to the Art Institute and major in like video and film editing and things like that. Like I was really into it in high school because I was in this class called Shark TV, which was like a TV news production class. And so for a long time I wanted to do that. And then when I started college, I considered becoming an elementary school teacher, but I took this class where I ended up going and teaching this first grade class, and I quickly discovered that it was not for me at all. And then I thought, okay, maybe I can be like a college professor, maybe I can get an English degree and then eventually teach English in like a college format. But then I realized I don't think I want to do that either. When I was in early college and like late high school, I also thought maybe becoming an author or like doing something in creative writing. I mean, I eventually, when I was going to college, I wanted to get my degree in creative writing in English, like I said. And so what I wanted to do with that is to like go into publishing and work in publishing or work with something book related. But I just don't see that happening for me, and I don't know if that's my dream anymore. So for now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. But those are the things I wanted to do when I was younger. I also got the question, who is your favorite actor? And my favorite actor is Jake Gyllenhaal, for sure. He's one of the only actors where I will watch every movie he does, even if it's like not my kind of movie. I'll probably still watch it just because I love him as an actor, and he's been in so many of my favorite movies of all time. Like my favorite movies of his are Nightcrawler, Donnie Darko, Prisoners, but he's so good in everything, and I just love all of his movies. But also Ryan Gosling, he's my other like top tier favorite actor, and he's another actor that I'll literally watch anything he does, and like his last few movies have been absolutely god tier. I mean, he had La La Land, Blade Runner 2049, The Nice Guys. Like he has been on a roll of putting out all of these bangers. Somebody asked who's my favorite Schitt's Creek character. Probably David, for sure. Like David is just so so relatable, and I just love his character, and I love the pansexual representation. It's just so rare to see in TV shows. But I also just adore Alexis. Like Alexis grew on me so hard because in the first season she really irritated me, but then by the end I was like, fucking a little bit Alexis. Like I fucking just love her. Somebody asked, what is your most reread book? And at this point in time it is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. That is a book that I've read 4 times now, which is wild if you think about it, because I really only became obsessed with reading in like 2014. Somebody else asked, what's your favorite season in Washington? And fall by far is my favorite season. I love fall, and fall is so beautiful in Washington. Like seeing all the leaves like change the colors, and like there's just this crispness in the air in the fall that I can't describe and I can't explain it, but it's just lovely. Right, well, those are all of the questions that I shall be answering today. I've been sitting here for like over an hour and a half and my voice is starting to feel dry, but I wanted to say again, thank you so much to everyone who sent in questions. I very much appreciate it. I'm so sorry if I didn't get to your question, but there were so many questions, and thank you so much again for 60K. And if there's any videos specifically that you would like for me to do in the near future, then please let me know down below, because I'm always interested in knowing and wanting to know what you guys would like to see from me, and it gives me ideas for future videos. I know I got a lot of requests of people wanting me to do a video of like reading your recommendations, which I do want to do that soon. I know for the month of June, I originally had a video plan that was supposed to be reading your romance recommendations, and I had everything ready to go, but then I just was not in a romance mood this month, so that video didn't end up happening. But I think I do want to do another video like that either in July, like maybe late July or early August. I would like to do a video that's more like reading your book recommendations in general, and maybe I'll ask for some book recommendations in the month of July and get them from you and do a video in August. So yeah, that is something to look forward to, because I would like to do a video just dedicated to reading your general book recommendations. So I'm very excited for that. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for 60K. Thank you so much to anyone who sent in questions and just for being here and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I love you. Thank you so much. I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.